Okay. Oops. Start. Asetto Corsa. Gears, tires, electronics. Pit stop strategy. Print. Skip session. What is this? Oh. Start engine. I'm learning. How do I access the freaking... Oh my god. Setup. Car status. Idle labs essentials. What is this? Oh, okay. Chat, tires. Okay, this is cool. Not right now, though. Leaderboard. Laps. Audio. F1. Three TV cameras. Oh, wow. 4 F5 select roll camera. Select F6 camera card. By the way, esto quiero que sea 720 sports 900. Okay. Control. is cool. Pitch. Save needed. Okay, post-process filter, natural, photographic, sepia, vintage, wow. Movie, default dark, default right, default please, default black and white, default dark, movie, hyper, natural, okay, that's fine, force feedback controller, slips 0, what do you mean slips? Road 50, ABS 21. Render stats, okay. Pedals. Fiesta. Real time, what do you mean real time? Road air, wind, grip, performance delta, estimated gears, what else? Audio, time of the day, it's 4 p.m. What else? Tires. How can I freaking access my options, bro? Oops. New personal best. Okay. Return. Oops. 0 points. ¿Por qué? I don't understand. Time attack. I don't get it. Racer. Okay. A ver. Traction control, stability control, mechanical damage.
tamaño de héroe que debería tener, ¿no? Entre otras cosas, hay una causal. Pero a ver, o sea, yo aclaro, ya sabes de esto, un poco que he dicho aquí, que soy físico, que me interesa tanto, no es tanto el tejido cerebral, sino más como las ideas. O sea que definitivamente no soy una persona bien versada, por más que sea neurocientífico, en la historia anatómica del cerebro. Aclarado eso, que creo que es importante, diré lo que conozco y sé que creo que para igual sé más, digamos, que la mayoría de la gente. Lo primero interesante del cerebro es que primero hay una idea que es como una historia larga de la mirada humana hacia el misterio que recibe y eso abandonada. O sea, no es que España tiene 400 premios Nobel, y además este es un cacho de premio Nobel, o sea, es como en el mundo, tú dices, Santiago Ramón y Cajal tendría que estar como volver a él todo el tiempo, fue alguien de una visión como que cambió un campo para siempre.
Es representativo de cómo funciona este país.
A mí me impresiona mucho, o sea, tú sabes, iba mucho en bici, pasaba por Miraflores, que es un pueblo que está en la sierra norte de Madrid, y cuando iba por ahí pasaba por la casa de Cajal y decía como, pero me metía yo, la miraba, porque está como abandonada, y veías como todas sus viejas herramientas, y dices, como esto no es un museo, ¿no? Bueno, en fin, Santiago Ramón y Cajal, que era un gran dibujante, un gran científico, un gran pensador, o sea, todavía están como los dibujos.
Y culturista, ¿no?
Un culturista, iba más un cazador, era un gran cazador, pero un cazador como, porque tenía esa cosa de que él veía de repente en medio de esta como enorme textura en la cual nadie veía nada, él encontraba la sombra de un ojo. Entonces esto tenía Cajal, que muchas veces pasa que la gente que dibuja muy bien, ve muy bien. Entonces una historia bonita también de la ciencia, que es que Cajal y Golgi, o sea, Cajal con las herramientas de Golgi, ve lo que Golgi no veía. Que es que Golgi pensaba que el cerebro era todo un retículo, o sea, una especie de como tejido continuo, una especie de... Y Cajal dice, no, estos son unidades separadas, casi pegadas, en lo que hoy sabemos que es una sinapsis, donde hay un hilo que es un axón que termina casi donde empieza la otra, pero ahí hay una pequeña división. Y esa idea era muy importante porque lo que estaban discutiendo era de qué estaba hecho el cerebro. Si el cerebro era lo que pensaba Golgi, que era un retículo, o si el cerebro era lo que hoy sabemos que es, y lo que Cajal vio utilizando el método de Golgi, que era un entramado de neuronas separadas, cada una de las cuales tiene una capacidad de procesar información y que se la pasa a otra, y ahí empieza con Cajal, hace un siglo, la idea de una red neuronal, de que el cerebro es una red neuronal de... millones y millones y miles de millones de neuronas. Y una cosa bonita, que vosotros hacéis mucho aquí, como esto de como la parte humana y histórica, filosófica de la ciencia, que yo creo que la gente esto no lo ve tanto, es que a Cajal y a Golgi le dan el premio Nobel juntos por tener ideas antagónicas. ¿No? Como cuando la gente tiene esta idea de que la neurociencia demuestra que, ¿sabes? El horrible título de un periódico, la neurociencia no demuestra nada, la neurociencia es un conglomerado de gente que tiene ideas opuestas y antagónicas sobre las cosas. Cajal y Golgi pensaban, o sea, de hecho se odiaban, porque uno decía A y el otro decía no A, o sea, B, lo contrario. Y festejan esa disonancia con el Nobel conjunto, que es un Nobel justo, porque al final fue Cajal el que tenía razón, pero no hubiese visto lo que vio
con la técnica
sin la técnica que Golgi había desarrollado. Bueno, la historia sigue un montón, no sé hasta dónde quieres ir, si quieres que vayamos a estructuras, no sé lo que... O sea,
sí, un poco por encima. Ahí descubren la unidad básica de funcionamiento del cerebro, que es la neurona, pero estaría bien saber cómo funciona una neurona y cómo es el entramado del cerebro, porque entiendo que es un organismo no homogéneo, ¿no?
No, por eso, el cerebro está hecho de... No es la única célula que tiene la neurona, tiene otras células que se llaman glías, que hay de muchos tipos. Neuronas también hay... Las neuronas son todas parecidas, pero hay desde pequeñas neuronas muy simples hasta algunas que se llaman neuronas piramidales. Que otra vez luego, si se puede, aquí pondremos los dibujos de Cajal, que son... proyectan a un montón de gente y creo que la metáfora vale. O sea, hay neuronas que tienen conectividad muy distinta.
Now, I forgot why I was even going to mention
Cosmic
this.
inflation.
Where was I going to non-inflation? Oh, yeah, yeah.
H. Starsky. You're
I-
Another old
Starsky and
reference.
Scotch, yeah.
Wait, I'm
you have to be
Starsky,
70
you're
to get that reference.
He did pull up in a Ford Torino.
Charles Liu, welcome back to Star Talk.
Hi, Neil. It's great to be back.
Charles, longtime friend. Our family's a friend and we're colleagues.
Yes.
You were here when we built the new Rose Center for Earth and Space 25 years ago.
Has it been that long?
It's been a quarter century.
Jesus, it seems like yesterday that we came over here.
I know.
This place was a hole in it.
Yeah, it does feel that way. And it was, you have intellectual and sweat equity people too. So thank you. And
It's weird because when we were talking, he wasn't here. You said he didn't do much. You took a lot of the credit. I don't know.
Well,
It's all-
you know, he's not wrong. I mean, I was just hanging out here all night having a great time.
Hanging out.
Yeah, that's all it was.
just jump right in.
okay. All right, let's
okay.
do it.
This is Galaxy. Hey, Dr. Tyson, Dr. Lou.
Wait, Galaxy's the person.
Yeah, Galaxy.
Galaxy,
Yeah,
okay.
That's there. I am Brian from Roseville, California. I just recently joined the Patreon, and I'm excited to have my question answered.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
I gotta say it right. Welcome to the universe. Okay.
We dim the lights when you do that. Woo! I have always wondered how giant gas clouds and nebula exist in space. Shouldn't the vacuum cause all gas to disperse evenly to the point of not being even being able to see it?
I love that because on Earth, any cloud of gas disperses.
That's right.
As dogs know.
That's right.
Dogs will smell you from far away because whatever's your stank.
Yeah.
1 minute
Thank you.
and he says the guest has stank. This is a message anybody watching on how not to host a show.
At least it's not smelling.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So it does dissipate.
It's a great question,
You look at
actually.
blood in the water, and then
Does it dissipate evenly? That is
well,
another
it's a diffusion equation
right.
where you have molecules. It wouldn't happen in solid because all the molecules are just rigid, but in a
Well, they can
fluid.
vibrate. They can
No,
vibrate.
but you're not going to move it through the system.
No, there's a phase. There's a phase.
Yeah, it's not going to move through the system.
Just trying to get technical.
Okay, and
Wow, this is getting tense already.
Well, he called me skank. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
I didn't say skank.
You know
I
what?
said stank.
Stank.
We don't
Excuse
need
me.
this. Was 2 hours.
There we go. Okay.
Let's go.
So the diffusion equation. So you have a molecule that can't move like all the others, and it just works its way through. In my high school, there was a diffusion experiment where there's a long tube. It was one of these display because we didn't have any athletic trophies to put. That's what we keep in school. So you got to put other stuff in your hallway display cases.
There's a hall of beakers.
Yeah, one of them is a very tall beaker. Yes, about this tall, if I remember correctly. That was littler, not much littler, but I think it was this big. And there was ink at the bottom, and they carefully put water on top of it. And throughout the year, you got to watch, because the ink is slightly denser, but still they're both fluids. And so you get to watch the ink work its way up.
At my high school, they had diffusion experiments every afternoon after the school lunches were served bean soup. And in every classroom, there would be experiment
There
of
was
different particles suspended in the
There was-
atmosphere, moving from one side of the classroom to the other.
I get it.
After you first heard
Right.
that
And
something
people
was
didn't
coming.
figure out to not eat the bean soup.
Right,
okay.
exactly. And that's where you got your name, Skank.
Stank.
So did you, could you do that same with the ink? Could you do it with oil, like cooking oil?
Yes.
Or olive
Well,
oil? Would it
it's
work?
harder. No, because oil would float, and the miscibility between oil and water is very different. Because ink is most inks that we use today are water based, and so water is fine with the water. Right.
Yeah. So Brian, the answer is basically these conditions out in space make it so that these gas particles
nonsense. I ain't doing this.
It's very moving. That's what
You cheer up, and you start crying.
Emotional. I never
It's
heard
true.
that word.
I have to become a
emotional.
star. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
some guys
when it's
have to become
cold,
stars, yeah.
when it's cold, the random emissions of the gases are actually overcome by the natural gravity that they exert.
Does it happen? Is it dispersing in an even nature? Even
Everything is turbulent. If you go see, for example, beautiful pictures of, say, the Orion Nebula of an interstellar cloud, you see that they're streaky and strange and unusual shape. Of course, cubes and cat's eyes and things like that. And that's completely because the turbulence is still going on.
Is it that, or
Just
because
on
you're smoking
gigantic
something?
scales.
That too.
You know,
Both. Right.
we gotta ask these stars that are emitting their planetary nebulae. I think that would be a very, very good idea. But the bottom line is that in space, you have gravity holding these clouds together long enough for them to do things like force things together. But there's always these forces, these different energies and so forth, that are trying to disperse them. And so you get beautiful combinations, and that's what you get with the
I would add that you have a gas cloud that makes a family of stars. So that eats up most of the mass of the gas cloud. But there's part of the gas that didn't participate in the formation of the planet.
Snoop, like you were in high school. Was standoffish.
It just wasn't there. It was, and that gas doesn't always land on a star.
Do we know why? In all seriousness.
Well, now the gas doesn't have enough gravity to make it a next star. We're done.
No, but at the time, and I'm not trying to be
Hold on,
funny,
it's too far away. It's too
that
I got
gas,
this.
like all the other gases, had an equal
I got you. It's not an equal opportunity system. If you're a little too far away, you might not feel the strong enough gravity to participate, and the stars form without you. And then I like that hand gesture because I'll follow up on it. The whole galaxy is rotating. Okay, so your whole system with your stars and your gas is moving, and there's blue other stuff. So your gas can get stripped and scatter into the galaxy, never to make another star.
So that gas just continues
Correct.
as gas throughout the universe.
And these are the particles that comprise the interstellar medium, even between the gas clouds. It's not completely empty.
Can that gas marry with other gases eventually and sort of possibly
Again, it depends completely on, say, what is the radiation, what is the temperature of the environment, how much of it just happens to be at this point, whether it can actually come. It's really beautiful. The funny thing is, it is very, very sparse. Right here on Earth, we have trillions upon trillions of particles of gas, even in the tiniest. But out in space, just a couple of miles above the surface, we're lucky if we even get millions.
It'd be the best vacuum ever created on Earth, is with just space.
So people who study interstellar clouds literally study Earth, and yet that's the nothing for which
It's impossible.
Such is the lab of this cosmic
Well said.
choreographed by the forces.
ballet makes it too
I'm feeling Alvin
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we go Alvin Alley.
Okay.
I've been buked.
Wins every time.
All right, moving on. Great question, great answers. Christopher Wynn. Hello, Dr. Tyson, Dr. Lou. I am Chris Wynn from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm new to Croatia. I love the show. My question is, during the Big Bang, what went bang? We don't know. What are your best guesses?
There's only one answer. The universe went bang. Get the next question.
I could take.
Well, we know the idea.
I got that one.
We know the idea of personal space was blown. Right?
Look, the term Big Bang was actually coined by or
It's so
attributed to.
misleading because it's about expansion.
That's
not
right.
about bang.
It's attributed
Why
to.
don't you guys fix that?
I've tried.
There's a lot of legacy language that permeates our field, and it makes it historically interesting.
Can I ask a question?
No.
This is-
In
all seriousness, how would that process work within the scientific community if you wanted to sort of take on the task of changing?
We have
Oh,
a
you mean
mechanism.
like if you change
Don't even say
products
stop.
of-
I'll kick you out of this office and throw you you off the
No,
roof.
say it. I'm already stank, so I mean, why not, right?
Come on, Stank.
No.
Wait. No.
Go ahead.
Two very important points. So finish your Big Bang story.
Yeah. Big Bang term is attributed to a guy named Fred. There was an interview done early on in the middle of the 20th century.
Back when ideas for the beginning of the universe were still uncertain.
Right.
And we're still contesting.
Right. And so he himself did not like the idea that the universe started from nothing or something very small and became something big. And so the journalist that he was speaking with, or interviewer, or whatever, said something like, so you're thinking of the universe as kind of like a big bang or something. And that just...
You do it to make science sort of sexy, like sort of to get people sort of
Today, no one really knows. I've seen it historically expressed as it was divisive or that it was spectacular, one or the other. But yes, the right answer is it's an expansion of space and time from something small to something big. It was not an explosion. And now we have this problem where we think, oh, if the Big Bang is an explosion, what did it explode into?
Well, a key part of that.
What did it explode from? Yeah, there's a lot of other...
And then there's this thing called cosmic inflation.
That's right.
Which happened in the first tiny fraction of a second.
Which is an expansion within an expansion. You know, imagine if you're going up a balloon slowly, then suddenly someone slaps you on the back and your air all goes out at once. And it goes up. And we call it inflation, which gets mixed in with all kinds of other
during
things.
the Jimmy Carter era hyperinflation that existed at the...
Just before. Nixonian time.
Are you sure?
But there is a
I'm pretty
theory.
sure, but it was like 10%.
It was in the 70s.
But there
Yeah,
is
but 10% inflation.
when this happened, okay, this cosmic inflation, there is a theory that a gas cloud produces wind, which is with inflation now. Jimmy Carter. Come on, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
See how I brought that back?
Okay.
Come on.
It's historic.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, by the way,
everything is
just
historic.
while we're on that, how does it relate back to society? I came of age. I'm a little older than you. I came of age
You're a lot older.
when people...
I think I heard him whisper, "Oh, your oldest dirt." I didn't think it was a very scientific term, but that's what he used.
I think I'm 20% older than Charles here, plus or minus. So I came of age when we applied computing power to what galaxies would do to each other when they encountered.
Classic paper by two brothers, in 1970.
Tomb Ray. Yes.
Terrific paper.
Yeah.
What kind of data are you putting into the
So we saw these weird-looking galaxies out there. This is just an analog, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. Really weird-looking galaxies, and there was someone in our field who compiled them into one catalog.
Chip ARP.
Called the Atlas of...
Peculiar galaxies.
Yeah, these are galaxies that are just weird. They don't match any form. So I don't know why, but here they are. And everyone's saying, what could make these galaxies? Are they born that way? And then Gerard de Vaucouleurs, who was a galaxy
Jerry.
guy.
I call him Jerry.
Yeah.
We're like this.
He was very French. He was pretty sure that a crashed Lexus is not a different kind of car. It's still a Lexus. Okay, so that was his
becomes a
analog.
Toyota, actually.
So he becomes a Toyota. Good one.
Yeah.
Good one. So the idea that no, they're not peculiar. They changed because they had these encounters, these collisions.
These galaxies collide.
Yes, and they're colliding all the time.
Right.
Okay. Now I forgot why I was even going to mention
Cosmic
this.
inflation.
Where was I going to non-inflation? Oh yeah.
Chip
So
ARP.
at the time, this is now in the 80s. Okay. These are your people now. In the 80s, we called this.
Wait a minute.
No, you'll understand why in 10 seconds.
Come on, Eileen.
So we called it in our field mergers and acquisitions.
Oh my God.
We did.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Galaxy mergers and acquisitions.
Oh my God.
So we
Because
got
that was
that term.
so hot then.
It was so hot right out of
Yeah.
Wall Street. So we have inflation and mergers and acquisitions.
And now look where we are.
Yeah.
That's right.
We were Dr. Stank. And,
Hey, Star Talk fans, I don't know if you know this, but the audio version of the podcast actually posts a week in advance of the video version. And you can get that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most other podcast outlets. Multiple ways to ingest all those cosmic.
the Big Bang within the Big Bang at the tiny fraction of that moment when it happened. Is there still yet an explanation as to why that had happened?
There are numerous competing hypotheses. We don't have the experimental evidence evidence to show the initial course of the thing that caused it to happen. We're pretty sure it did happen.
And we got close to that energy. The bigger part is our particle accelerator. The earlier in time it can see, not see, but represent in the temperature density of the particle accelerator. You can say in the first microsecond, or the first nanosecond of the universe, what was the temperature? Oh my gosh, it was this high. Have we ever reached that temperature in the lab? No, not yet. The day we do, we get to say, we think we have sampled what the early universe would have looked like. Do new particles pop in? Is there a dark matter particle that shows up? We don't know.
But you both understand that brilliant scientists, that lay people like myself are looking for all sorts of solid answers.
Yes.
Like I'm still trying to figure myself out. Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure myself out in counseling, therapy, whatever. The universe hasn't been able to figure itself out in 13.8 billion years. Can you guys get on the stick and give us an answer?
I would like to, but this is you hit the key point in the difference between, you hit the key point between what I think is the difference between scientific truth and non-scientific truth. With scientific truth, we always put in the but maybe we're wrong, that we don't know for absolute sure part. And that's really, really important, right? Science could not have progressed if somebody said, this is the right answer, and then everyone just said, oh, okay.
Well, people would have stopped
because it's
sparring.
right. It's incredibly important to recognize that we have ignorance. Neil has a terrific term for this. We have to understand that there's a space beyond which we don't know the answer, or even what we think we know could be wrong because of this, and this.
Which is why, Paul, you need to love the questions themselves. In your search.
That is too profound.
Too profound.
No, that's Rainer the rookie. Yes. I have to adjust what we just talked about.
Like a kite.
He's gonna
adjust. Won't worry.
He's gonna,
I didn't
he's
different
gonna
word.
straighten your mental back out.
Your mental vertebrae. Yeah. So I put a lot of thought and energy into defining what true means, and I've settled in a way that I think is highly defensible and should be adopted. Okay. So scientific truth is that which has been established by repeated observations and measurements. When that happens, it is not later shown to be false. So we can talk about it as an objective truth. E equals mc squared is not one day going to be found to be false. That Earth goes around the sun, that the sun is hot, that the sun undergoes thermonuclear fusion is not going to one day be found to be false. Where Charles is referring to, we have to have some acceptance that we could be wrong. Yes.
About things that we are not definitively
correct. On the frontier, we're wrong most of the time.
But there are some
90%.
There are some things that we've reached. The community is comfortable saying. You're saying that there are some things equals MC squared, etc. Where we're not questioning that anymore.
They're huge things, huge swaths.
Otherwise, you can't do.
Otherwise, we're not flying airplanes.
Otherwise, you can't do the exploration into the things that we don't.
Airplanes wouldn't fly.
Right.
Rockets don't go to Mars and land exactly
you
where we
could
tell them.
continue to research that there's another rationale, but I think what you're saying is
No, hold on. Let me finish. I'm almost done. Okay. It doesn't mean that we will not one day find a deeper truth in which the experimentally verified truths are embedded. Such was the case with Newton's laws of gravity and motion. Those laws, in the realms in which they were tested, are still valid. We went to the moon using Newton's laws and not Einstein. Okay? There was no relativity in the Apollo voyages. It was all Newton's laws of gravity and motion. We then learned that at high speeds, high gravity, Newton's laws break down. Holy shit. Do we discard Newton? What's going on?
well, this gravitational wave.
So Einstein finds a deeper understanding of gravity and motion. And he gets his theories of relativity, special theory and general relativity. Guess what? When you plug low speeds and low gravity into Einstein's equations, they become Newton's equations. People say, oh, we've Newton out, Einstein in. That misrepresents what's actually happening here.
Well, you can't have, it's chicken and egg. You can't have one without the other.
Well, no, I mean, in terms of the pathways of discovery, you get the restricted case before you discover the general case. My only point is the uncertainty that a scientist brings to the frontier is in the realm of things that we have not yet experimentally verified. And it's completely uncertain at that level. And we're just duking it out at conferences and the like. And the press eavesdrops on the conferences because the scientists don't know what they're talking about. And then people say, I don't trust science. Yeah, as they're on their smartphone talking to someone 1,000 miles away. I don't trust science, you know? So I just want to clarify that. And two other truths. There's your personal truth. Like, is Jesus your savior? Is Muhammad your last prophet? Is Beyonce the queen rather than Taylor Swift? Right. So that's a personal truth. And then you have political truths, which are things that become true in your head simply because they were repeated so often.
Yes.
Which are the foundations of...
Or because you read it on Twitter.
No, it's how many times you read it. It's how many times. And so...
Is that any different?
Those are the foundations of
Is that any different than commercial advertising?
No, exactly the same.
You're gonna show you this Toyota 50 times, and by the end of the week, you're gonna be like, I gotta get a Toyota. That's a great car.
And no matter what they're telling you, that becomes true.
Right.
So those are the three truths.
Right.
And I will never speak of an absolute truth because that's not what science does.
Newton's gravity was proven to be wrong is true. It was wrong because in certain conditions of the universe, it was not correct.
But that's
That didn't mean...
But those are extreme conditions well beyond the experimental realm.
that expands our...
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yes.
When a bad thing happened like that, it's a good thing because it expands our basic...
It doesn't
And
mean...
let's call it bad.
Doesn't
Bad, we don't invest emotions in it.
Doesn't
Some people do, but
Right.
it's not good if you do.
Well, I talk like a 6-year-old.
No, so do I.
Well, this
And
is
that's-
perfect because this next question is about gravitation waves. I'm telling you, this is eerie. This is Mitchell Ransom. Mitch from the UK. I would love to know more about what we can learn from gravitational waves. It's cool. We can detect them, but what can that do for our understanding of the universe?
Marvelous.
Perfect.
It's a marvelous question.
You take this up back then.
I will be the one Soto Otan.
And then I'll be the guy who shouldn't steal second and does and gets thrown out and ruins the inning.
Well, if Otani was, he'd actually make it.
Or if you're going to steal second, do it deep into the count of a batter you want to see come up again.
Yes. Also, that's true.
Because they get fresh.
Right. And
This is
also,
fundamental baseball, which doesn't get talked about nearly as much as it should.
We should do a whole thing on baseball.
oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's
We
Well,
can
the
totally geek out.
biggest, I mean, I think the pitch clock, while it's helped speed the game up, I mean, stealing is so much
Yes.
more interesting and fun to watch because you go over there twice, you know you're gonna get you can't go back a third
That's right.
time.
That's right.
So-
They're very interesting. Rules are always fun too. Talking about rules.
It's the
in
most
sports and
interesting
things.
sport to watch, I think, baseball because of all of the machinations. But anyway,
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the deal. Gravitational waves are essentially to the universe and space and time as, say, ripples are in a pond, right? So if you see ripples going on in a pond or any body of water, you can deduce things about that pond. What is the water made out of? Is there duckweed on the top? How deep is it? Is there ice? You know, things like that. All the different things about that puddle.
By the way, the depth affects the amplitude of the ripple.
Completely. Right.
So it's why when you're at the beach, how come, you see a swell sort of out there, but then it gets closer to the shore, it becomes a big wave. So the energy that is out there in the ocean, which is shared vertically to the bottom of the thing, as you get shallower and shallower, that energy has to manifest somehow. The height of the wave grows. And so the energy is the same, but the height and how you experience it is each
but where does wind as a phenomenon? So because wind can create
Wind can also create illusions. That's right. The top has an effect, the bottom has an effect, and the side has an effect. Right? Where is it coming from? The edges make a difference if you're in a bay or if you're just hitting the high shoreline. Also, what is the material of the beach? Is it rock? Is it sand? So gravitational waves literally have the opportunity, if we're sensitive enough, to tell us about space-time, the structure of the universe, the things that these ripples go through.
Gotta add real quick. Charles is talking about things you would know beyond just the simple detection of the wave. It's one thing to know that there's a wave, and now it's the amplitude. It's the wave. How many of these are there? Like, are they coming from this direction? There's different layers. But the Nobel Prize went to basically the first time it was ever discovered. And then you can keep asking more detailed questions when your telescopes become better to do so.
That's right. But this gets to Newton's law of universal gravitation, which does not provide for the existence of gravitational waves. It asserts that gravity has an instantaneous effect, which is wrong. That's because I dropped a 1982 bottle of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, and it
Did you seriously do that?
In slow motion.
Did you seriously do that?
It landed on a pillow, actually.
And it fell in slow motion.
Yes.
Everything slowed down.
Yes.
So Newton's wrong. So that's where Newton and Einstein, right, are sort of.
No, wait, just to be clear. Newton did not have a strong investment in any expectation that things happen instantaneously. His big concern was that there was action at a distance and there was nothing in between. That was just a little weird. He knew it worked, but he couldn't explain it in any way. But he was not deeply
Put
invested.
an example of that for me. So there's something in the distance, but nothing in between.
Let's say I turn off that light.
Okay.
It actually takes a fraction of a second for that light to, for that information to get to me. And the light is the motion. But
Except for
because
Muhammad Ali. You know what he said? He said, I'm so fast. I could turn out the lights and be in bed before it's dark.
he also floated like a butterfly, so that could be that guy was pretty amazing. Yeah. So that speed at which that light and that dark travels to is so fast that I, as a human being, could never detect it. But if I had a very sensitive camera that could really stop down time to billionths of a second or trillions of a second, you can actually see it getting darker. So yeah.
2 light years moves 1 foot per nanosecond, per billionth of a second. So you just need billions, and you can catch.
Yeah. So
From
if
the side, if you look at it from the side,
And you would literally see, right now there's a straight white line of light, and then you see it getting dark.
well, there's also background. Our light is primarily illuminating.
if you have a laser and put chalk dust in there, and you see it, and then you do this.
That would be a great. Absolutely. So.
Baseball game.
There you go.
Oh yeah, for the.
So Newton really didn't get the sense or understand the reason of time. Einstein.
Which is what gravitational waves are.
Right.
Well, they move at speed.
Einstein showed that information in the universe, especially carried by light, right, and waves, has a speed limit. And then folks wondered.
And it's not just a good idea. It's the
Dad joke.
What is going on in your brain?
It's a dad joke. It's total dad joke.
I love the dad joke in this. No, it's really very good. So what happened is that Einstein showed that there was this sort of speed limit, the speed at which light travels in a vacuum. And then folks said, well, you know what? If that's the speed limit of light, maybe that's also the speed limit of these other things, any information in it. And so, so maybe gravity will travel. And that's important to know. When we see gravitational waves, we infer the existence of little tiny particles called gravitons that travel through space in order to have this happen. We still have never detected the existence of gravitons. We may never be able to unless we get a particle accelerator the size of the solar system. But what we can do is to say, well, this proves that speed of light and the speed of gravitational waves and so forth are so close to one another. There must be something there. So that in itself, I guess, is another discovery, right? By gravitational waves existing, you start putting strict upper limits on the mass of light.
Just to be clear, before we knew anything about photons of light, light was described as waves. And then we learned that wave particle, like it can manifest as a particle, a photon, or as, that you can detect, or as waves, which you can also detect as waves. By analogy to that, gravitational waves are granted a particle counterpart. The graviton.
which is a counterpart in a
To
way
the photon.
to the photon.
Correct. And you need different mechanisms to detect it in that mode.
When we say particles collide to create virtual particles, do they really fist bump each other down at the Planck scale, occupying the same velocity at the same time? Or do they just get close enough and then, magically?
Great question. They get close enough. As an undergraduate, I learned some about a very technical, silly term called the impact parameter. And that means that if you have two things coming toward each other, how close do they have to be before they impact each other, affect each other?
Have to touch
They
each
don't actually have to touch.
So like if I did this to you,
Hey,
I'm not touching you.
he's not touching me. Stop
I'm
not
annoying
touching
you.
me.
I'm annoying you.
Let's go a layer deeper. We did a whole episode of Cosmos on this. Because of electromagnetic forces which hold your body together, when I go up to Charles and I touch him, if you actually analyze what's going on at the molecular and atomic level, I'm not actually touching him. There are forces in a field surrounding the particles, and it's the forces that are bumping off each other. And this impact parameter exists when there are fields that surround the objects that
Hang
are
on a
coming
second.
near each
I
other.
can see my finger, my skin touching that surface.
So,
So you're telling me that what I'm seeing,
At a very microscopic scale,
there's something
what's
between that
actually
plastic and
there is space between that plastic and your skin. But what happens is that the fields transfer energy. So your skin still feels as if it is physically touching something.
But
When
that's
in fact-
something coming from the bottle, and the bottle's coming from the skin.
So there is a tiny space, and there is stuff passing between.
otherwise your finger would just pass through the
So
body.
there's a space, like my
The plastic is
like my
preventing it.
emotional relationship with my wife. There's a sliver.
We don't want to get into So I
That's
love this. I love this what Charles says because we don't hear that term much, but it's almost self-explanatory. It's the distance within which you can declare there was an interaction between the two objects.
There's a way to measure.
You can put it in the mathematical equations and say, okay, well, I have some force field in my finger. You have some force field in that plastic container. When they come together, how close do they have to be before I feel the force of those container particles pushing on my finger?
It's more precise than that. So you have two. I'm pulling this out of my 30-year memory. You can ask. Okay. So if two gravitational objects will come by, and one just gets pulled a little bit, you can say, all right, what does that mean? But you can define, just for conversational and mathematical purposes, the impact parameter is the distance within which its trajectory will be altered by more than 90 degrees.
It's pretty cool. So
Okay.
that's why when we talk about, say, colliding galaxies, the stars in the galaxies actually never hit each other.
They never touch.
Almost never have direct collision.
Passes through.
But they go by each other. And as they go by, it's like a swarm of angry bees. And they affect each other.
To the point where there can be an explosion.
To the effect where, at times, you will have an explosion.
So if I'm touching this, is there a force that's strong enough to measure at which I can push those fields apart and I'm actually touching it? Is it ever possible to eliminate that field that's between the thing, my finger and the pen?
It is almost never possible because there's a limit beyond which the math breaks down. You see, in the quantum structure
But I feel like I'm asking to use the car and you saying maybe and that's no. Sorry.
Let's back up for a minute.
keep it under 30 miles an hour. You'll be all right.
Back up to story time. Okay. I'll be reading.
Get some hot cocoa, Alex.
The Merlin's tour. Dear Merlin, is there a chance that another star one day will collide? Yes. But you should know that if there were just 4 snails randomly carousing across the continent, do they?
Snails
crude.
Yes.
Crude.
What are they, alcoholics?
Hey, Snails, how's it going?
Drug addicts?
More likely for two of them to accidentally bump into each other than it is for another star and the sun
Seriously?
to collide. Yes, and then my artist brother two snails.
One of which has a bandana and a gun. The carousing, that's the
So
carousing.
it's mostly empty space, so two galaxies collide, the stars just pass, but they definitely affect each other.
So this star going by, there's enough energy there that it can cause each to explode?
Not necessarily. They'll cause each other to change their trajectories.
Yeah.
But once every 4 seconds or so, in the whole universe, this is an estimate made a few years ago, there is actually a direct collision. Okay? And this is most likely to happen in dense clusters of stars.
Very dense.
Okay? Like globular
And near the
clusters.
center of the dense cluster.
In the center of the star, where, say, for example, in the space, which is normally, say, a few light years between me and us and Alpha Centauri, there could be
The nearest
million stars in that space. When the overdensities are 1,000,000 to 1 compared to, say, our solar system, you can actually have stars here, and they could actually explode. But the chances of even a collision causing an explosion are tiny because stars are mostly made out of gas. So imagine like a star going through another star. You're basically just having gas clouds smashing into gas clouds and go through. You need the core.
But there are molecules within each gas cloud
That's right.
that could sort of...
They could, but then they don't cause a collision because they're so small. There's so low energy. If you hit the core of a star, then
Now
you
you're
can
talking.
actually create a star. And you create collisions.
Let's make that
And once every 4 seconds.
You guys are doing crazy
Somewhere
stuff
in the
basement.
huge universe.
Huge
That's higher than I would have guessed. Yeah.
I know you guys are doing crazy stuff in the basement of this place. Let's make that happen. Okay, I have more questions,
I'm not
but I don't want
authorized
to.
I'm only saying more to you.
I don't have the clearance.
You ever wanted one of your questions on the universe answered? We all have questions about the universe. Black holes, quasars, quantum entanglement, wormholes. There is no end to the depths of cosmic curiosity. Well, the entry level of Patreon membership with Star Talk gets you just that. I think it starts at $5 a month. You have access to the question line that reaches our Cosmic Query program. And not only that, we produce a special Cosmic Queries installment just for Patreon members.
As if you weren't the director of the Hayden Planetarium, what do you think you would be to
It would have to be another universe. It wouldn't happen in this universe.
Okay.
I'd be a songwriter for Broadway musicals.
Ooh!
So that's the entry level, and the perks ascend from there. There's a level, in fact, where we send you an autographed copy of one of my latest books. Right now, it's Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives and Civilization. And it's signed with my fancy founder. So I invite you to just check the link below, and all of that money goes to our ability to experiment with new ways of bringing the universe down to Earth. So thank you for those who've already joined, and we welcome others to participate in this grand adventure of what it is to bring the universe down. As always, keep looking up. Paul, time for a couple more.
Oh, absolutely. Very good question here. This is from Morton Lurkjar. This is, I hope...
Who?
Don't make me say it a second time. This is greetings from Norway.
Sorry, Morton.
Okay.
Morton
Oh, sorry, Morton.
Lurkjar.
Yes.
I hope you can help clarify something for me. If our sun is a third-generation star, how is it that we can observe earlier generation stars when looking back in time, since we are made up of the stardust from those earlier stars? Wouldn't their light have already passed by?
Perfect answer is the following. I am a third generation from my grandfather, but I can still see my great-grandfather if he's still alive.
Right.
The idea is that the generation in which you are created may have happened while those earlier generation stars are still alive.
Right.
So our sun is about 4.5 billion years old. But if a first generation star that created it was 4 billion years old, And then the star that was before it was.
Welcome to this Series 2. You've done well in the first series, so now it's time to graduate and drive some proper rear-wheel drive cars. BMW produces some of the finest sports cars that are not only fast and exciting, but also help you improve your driving technique by being easy to drive on the limit. When to browse on once. Okay, a ver. Training with GP short 3000. 3000.
That first generation star is always going to be mom's favorite. Third generation son. You leave the kid home alone, let him smoke cigarettes when he's 12. That third generation.
You wipe the binky on the pants instead of sterilizing.
You don't care.
By the third kid.
Yeah,
You take the kid to the track instead of taking him to the zoo.
You do.
I'm sorry, I'm really putting a lot of my personal
This is coming out. Yeah.
personal stuff coming out here.
Man.
Wait, Charles. I think you missed the point there.
I did.
I think.
Oh no.
I think.
Sorry, Morgan.
I knew that, but I didn't want to say it.
I think. Okay. The generation of stars that gave their lives to create the elements out of which we were made are not there anymore. You're not going to see your grandfather if you were made out of the flesh of your grandfather or your great grandfather. They're not going to be there. They're dead because they gave their lives for you. What's going on here is as we look out in space, we look back in time and see the universe not as it is, but as it once was. So we can look far enough out into space to see the first generation stars do their thing. And beautiful. We can just look 8 billion years ago. 8 billion years ago, those are stars manufacturing the elements, and they're about to die to make room for the second generation. And that light is only now just reaching us.
But those elements continue to exist like my great-great-grandfather's DNA exists in me.
Yes, but he ain't around.
He lives in you.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Is that mine kid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good. Very good.
But he,
I recognize the first part of that, not the second part.
Sorry.
but we get him.
We need a... Here we go, right here.
Okay, no, we're mixing 2 points.
I know, but there's two different points.
Yes.
There's two different
One
points.
point is look back, and
Yes.
the other is the age of things. Okay. When the first generation of stars formed, there
Notice
were
he said, when? When?
like Will Wheaton.
Yes.
Yes.
The whole episode of Family Guy. I'm pronouncing...
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. When you have a generation of stars, you have some stars that die quickly, but then you have just stars that live. So those that died quickly contributed their information or their materials to the next
The
generation.
elements that they made.
Meanwhile,
And those are the highest
that
masters.
first generation still exists. And then that generation goes, and then they form another generation. But those old stars from the first generation still exist.
The stars that did not give their lives for us happen to live for 1 trillion years.
Minimum.
So, yes, at least. So they're all still around in every galaxy, and it's not even about look-back time. So, but some of them gave their lives for us. So the notion that we are second or third generation, generally that only matters because we have elements that earlier generations
well, those
don't.
elements, isn't it? Third generation star, the sun's composed of heavier elements like iron and oxygen.
Yes.
So that because the heavier they can exist longer or
No.
They pass
Just
on.
low mass stars live forever, and high mass stars die. And first generation high mass stars died for us.
Yeah, so the caveat
They
is,
died for our sins.
the caveat is that if there are
You realize there's a logical fact in Christianity that if you don't sin, then Jesus died for no reason.
Well, then I better get to go. I better get together.
What have you been doing?
What's right?
What are we doing?
The day just began.
Time's a waste. What are we wasting time here? Come on. Show's over, everybody. We're going to go sin our ass off.
Just don't tell my wife. The first generation of stars, like the very, very first generation of stars, may have only formed short ones. This is something that has been speculated. We're not 100%.
It's like the 0th generation star.
The ones that,
I'm sorry, only formed short generation?
short-lived stars. Short-lived, right. So it's possible that the original, the OG generation of stars is all gone. Okay. But certainly we can look back several generations and see that there are stars from the previous generations that still exist.
Going back to your sort of analogy of the great-grandfather, it's like, it's as if you can see those stars from previous generations that were, it's like your great-grandfather's still alive. So, that's right.
Yeah, but he's not the one who gave you your elements. If you can still see him, they're not giving you the elements. If they're not in your own galaxy. We have all generations of stars within our own galaxy. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but the elements of that star that I can see that's in previous generations, the sun.
It'll have fewer heavy elements than we do.
Okay, but doesn't it share some of the same elements that the sun shares? Generation?
Yes, the sun has all of it plus the next generation.
Great question.
Manaid Shandigai, North Wales.
What? What's his name?
Manaid Shandigai from North Wales.
Wow. Give it what you're going. That's amazing.
Or Michael is his name.
Okay.
Given the relationship between speed and time and the relationship between speed and mass, is there also, therefore, a direct relationship between time and mass? In other words, if time were somehow stopped, would everything become infinitely massive? And would we be dragged by intense gravitational forces back into singularity?
Man.
Wow, I love that.
That's a drop the mic moment, everybody.
Mike's on a mic
They get
stand.
some
So
amazingly thoughtful people in Wales.
Yes, that's incredible.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So do you interpret that the way I do? He's saying we know from relativity that as you go faster, time slows down
Yes.
and your mass increases.
Yes.
So instead of having it happen that way, let's figure out a way to slow down time. And would that then have associated with it an increase in everybody's mass?
That's right.
That's an
I think
interesting
that's
question.
a great question. I don't think that can happen. That's not how time works. Because what we're doing when we're measuring speed is how fast you're going through space, right? It's the distance you travel through space divided by the amount of time it takes.
Is this question suggesting that we drive backwards in time?
The suggestion is that you slow time down, right? I think that instead of going at 1 second per second, it becomes 0.9, 0.8.
To the point where something becomes
Right.
everything becomes singular.
Right. And I don't think that can work because the physics of time, which is still mysterious in certain fundamentals, suggests that you can't really manipulate time that way. But the way you manipulate your speed traveling
That's
through
true.
space.
And my favorite part of time is that we are prisoners of the present, forever in transition, inaccessible.
You just gave me a headache.
I know you like that, but I prefer Master.
You wanna mess with that?
No, but I'm going to provide an alternative from that incredible, deep, document, lofty Kung Fu Panda from Master.
Okay.
The past is history. The future is a mystery. All we have today is a gift, and that is what
That was from Kung Fu Panda.
Yes, sir.
It ain't over till it's over.
Yogi.
That has a time aspect. When you think about it.
Most profound.
Look down your nose at that.
That only works in baseball.
No, if you think about it
It's
at
the
a deeper
Super Bowl.
level.
If you're in the Super Bowl and one team is down by
How about
21 points,
how about it's
and
getting
it's
late early?
3 minutes late,
Don't you love it's
the
getting
game
late?
is over. Okay,
It's
so
not over. You still have to put the 2-minute warnings commercials.
Exactly. Right. You gotta sell some soap,
but the
buddy.
full significance of that comment can only exist in baseball where there is no clock. Except now there is with the pitcher. I think that's all the time we have.
Yeah, it's called.
No,
It's
it's
a-
So, Charles, you finished a book recently.
Yes.
I loved it. The quantum something.
Handy quantum physics answer.
To have the word handy and quantum in the same title. That's badass.
The goal is to help everyone understand.
which we need. Like, it's basic explanations
Yeah.
of complex things.
You know, quantum feels scary, it feels unknown, but actually interesting. And so think of it as a hint. Think of it as a test.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good.
Nice reference, guys.
And Paul, where can we find you next?
Permission to Speak, my Broadway show directed by Frank Oz,
Wow.
the original Yoda and all of that, and a great director. We are taking out a national tour. We're going to be in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, and in Fort Lauderdale, Broward Center for Performing Arts, Dr. Phillips Center in Orlando, and in Rhode Island.
All the good places.
Yeah.
See your show.
Yeah,
Very nice.
we have a set design by the set designer for the Late Show, and we have animation.
Because you also write.
I work at the Late Show with Stephen Colbert,
Stephen
and
Colbert.
that show.
You warm up the
warm up and do on. I do. We're going to be making another appearance. I'm going to be making another stand-up appearance on the show for the first time. And so we got a really.
Oh, so you
cool
don't
set.
only warm with the audience. Occasionally he'll bring you on
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
broadcast.
yeah. I've done a
cool.
bunch of appearances on this show.
Like a few times when you came and said hi to me.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, absolutely. And he's like, "Don't make eye contact." And we got really cool animation in the set. Was J.J. Settlemeyer, who did Beavis and Butthead and all the SMTV movies. It's a multimedia show with a set. It's really cool. So it's really cool. So yeah, so people go to paulmercurio.com, get tickets, come out, support the show would be great. Permission to Speak. It's been really great to be on with you. Wonderful. I read some of your work. It's really great. Kim,
They never shook my hand. They never shook my hand. That's all the time we have. This has been a Star Talk. Cosmic Queries grab bag. That was definitely some bag grabbing right there. All right, until next time, Neil deGrasse Tyson bidding you all to keep looking up.
Defies all common.
There's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
Beneath the complexities of everyday life, the rules of our universe seem reassuringly simple. This bridge supports my weight. The water flowing underneath always goes downhill. And when I throw this stone, it always flies through the air following a predictable path. But as scientists peer deep into the tiny building blocks of matter, all such certainty vanished. They found the weird world of quantum mechanics. Deep down inside everything we see around us, we found a universe completely unlike our own. To paraphrase one of the founders of quantum mechanics, everything we call familiar is made up of things that cannot themselves regarded as real. Around 100 years ago, some of the world's greatest scientists began a journey down the rabbit hole into the strange and the bizarre. They found that in the realm of the very small, things could be in two places at once. That their fates are dictated by chance. And that reality itself defies all common sense. And at stake, that everything we thought we knew about the world might turn out to be completely wrong. The story of our descent into scientific madness begins with the most unlikely object. Berlin, 1890. Germany is In 1887, the German government invested millions in a new technical research institute here in Berlin, the Physikalisch-Technische Reichenstalt, or PTR. Then, in 1900, they enlisted a bright, if somewhat straight-laced scientist to help work here. His name was Max Planck. Planck took on a deceptively simple problem: why the color of the light changes as the filament gets hotter. To get a sense of the puzzle facing Planck, I'm going to ride this bicycle with an old-fashioned lamp powered by an old-fashioned dynamo.
How by that? Thank you very much, everybody. It's a wonderful pleasure to be here at the Royal Institution. This is my favorite lecture hall to talk about science in. Of course, other people have talked about science here before me, and there's this wonderful legacy that we have, this wonderful history of not just lectures, but demonstrations here at the Royal Institution, from Michael Faraday to Humphrey Davy. And I'm a theoretical physicist. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. I don't really do demonstrations, but I thought it's the Royal Institution. I should at least try to do some sort of demonstration. So we're going to try. There's no guarantee of success. That's the beauty of science, right? You know, you never really know. So here's what's going to happen. I am going to push a button, and my phone is going to send a signal across the internet to a laboratory in Geneva, Switzerland, in which a little gizmo will send a photon, a particle of light, toward a partially silvered mirror. And according to the rules of quantum mechanics, the photon will in part pass through the mirror and in part be reflected off. There will be detectors that will find out whether the photon went one way or the other. And once that happens, quantum mechanics says, there will literally be two different universes created. One in which the photon went one way and one in which the photon went the other way. A signal will be sent back to my phone in which that will be translated into instructions to either hop left or hop right, which I will then do. Let's see if Michael Faraday can do that. Here we go. Okay, and again, this is not a simulation. This is really actually happening. There really is a little beam splitter there in Geneva, and it's telling me that I should hop left. I did it. Thank you. You've been a great audience. Thanks. No, there's more to come, but the point is, according to the theory that I'm going to try to explain to you, maybe even persuade you of its reasonableness, there literally is another version of the universe that is just coming to existence, where a version of me is standing there and going like this. And I actually believe this is true. And maybe you won't actually believe it's true, but at least you'll understand why someone like me would believe it's true when all is said and done. Okay, now this is the hardest part of the demonstration, which is working the PowerPoint. Is it working? Yes, there we go. Okay. Of course, the topic here is quantum mechanics. If you're not here to hear a lecture on quantum mechanics, something has gone terribly, terribly wrong. But the reason why I would like to talk about quantum mechanics, the honest reason, is because I've written a book about quantum mechanics that you could buy right now on your iPhone without leaving your seat. But if you know even a little bit about quantum mechanics, your question should be, why in the world do we need another book about quantum mechanics? And I think that there is a reason, and the reason is implied by this famous quote by my Caltech predecessor, Richard Feynman. I think I can safely say that nobody understands quantum mechanics. Now, I usually don't like to appeal to authority when I'm giving these lectures, but when the thing I'm trying to demonstrate is that physicists don't understand quantum mechanics, I'm allowed to appeal to someone who, if anyone, should have understood quantum mechanics.
What in the world does it mean for someone like Feynman to say no one understands quantum mechanics? He used quantum mechanics every day. In fact, we can use quantum mechanics to extraordinary precision. We can make predictions. We can do the experiment. We can see the outcome. The rules of quantum mechanics are obeyed. The problem is we understand quantum mechanics and use it in exactly the same way that I use my iPhone. I can send signals, I can use apps, I can send texts, even phone people on my phone. But if you say, what's going on inside? How do I build one of these? What are the details? I have no idea. That is the relationship that professional physicists have with quantum mechanics. They can use it, but if you ask them what's really going on under the hood, they say, well, we have no idea. And that's perfectly fine when it's me and my phone. It's really embarrassing when it's me and when it's physicists and quantum mechanics. And the really bad thing is not just that physicists don't understand quantum mechanics. Not understanding is perfectly fine, right? Not understanding drives science. We don't understand something, so we then try to understand it. The problem is that in the case of quantum mechanics, we don't even try anymore. There was this time in the 1920s and 30s when the greatest physics minds really thought deeply about what it means when quantum mechanical events happen, but then that disappeared, that project of trying to really deeply understand what's going on. It was thought to not be serious work. It was thought to be what one did at the end of one's career, or at the end of the day, there was a little brandy, you put on your smoking jacket, and you think about quantum mechanics. It was not really what real physics is made of anymore. So if you ask many physicists today, like, what's really going on with quantum mechanics, they'll say, no, 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 we don't care about that. We don't want to know. So the metaphor, the parable that I'd like to borrow from is Aesop's fable of the fox and the grapes. You know this one? The fox sees there's a nice juicy bunch of grapes up there. It goes, oh yes, I want these grapes. Fox jumps up and down to get the grapes, but the grapes are just out of reach, just a little bit too high. So the fox says, you know what? I never wanted those grapes anyway. They're probably sour. You're not supposed to explain your parables, but just to make things clear, the fox represents physicists. The grapes represent understanding quantum mechanics, okay?